Hello everyone, I'm Miles Barano. I'm here with Brandon Marcello. We just got out of a press conference with Gus Malzahn. A lot of news today. Brandon, you want to break the news?
Yeah, I mean, it's, listen, it doesn't seem like any week here is quiet during the fall, and who'd think that Auburn going into its second SEC game of the year, we be talking about basketball, but seismic changes coming in college basketball, the landscape. And if you haven't heard, the FBI has just come down on 4 coaches, 10 people involved, but 4 assistant coaches. It's 4 different schools, one of which is Auburn, with Chuck Person, who was allegedly paid more than $90,000 to steer at least 2 players toward a financial advisor. 2 players he believed would be going to the NBA, and he allegedly paid them about $18,000, I believe, out of that $91,000 he received. Chuck Person, of course, being the rifleman, the former Auburn star himself, basketball guard, he's been suspended without pay. I mean, the guy's, I'm guessing right now in jail somewhere he's in federal custody. It's a bad look, not just for Auburn, for college basketball as total. Mm-hmm. Louisville's getting a lot of heat right now because of what's happened there, but also with the involvement of a shoe company, and Adidas. That could really come down hard on them, and you're seeing people like Pat Forty, a reporter for Yahoo Sports, already saying that Louisville should get the death penalty. Now, I don't think Auburn will get near that situation, but at the very least, it certainly looks like 2 of Auburn's best players are probably not going to be playing this season. Chuck Person will end up being fired. I don't think there's any question about that, but we'll see. And then you got to question the future of Bruce Pearl and whether he survives this. He's obviously already had the NCAA on his back. He was fired at Tennessee, had a 3-year show cause, came to Auburn still under the show cause, and now he's letting this happen under his watch. There's a rule passed in 2013 that made head coaches directly responsible for their assistant coaches. You couldn't really hide behind the idea of, well, I didn't know about this. Well, you hired the guy. You're his boss. You have to be very, very on top of things with your assistants. And I don't know what's going to happen with Bruce Pearl. I don't think anybody really knows right now, but he's in hot water all of a sudden. Then you wonder about Jake Jacobs, the athletics director.
A lot of scandals.
A lot of scandals underneath him here in the last just 2 months. Softball investigation involving 2 coaches, including the head coach, and they were fired. Now you got this with basketball on a federal level. I mean, federal charges, corruption, bribes, horrible timing.
Not a good look.
And I said this on our message board of the bot again. I'm sorry, Auburn fans. You guys don't deserve this. But this team's not going to make the NCAA tournament this year unless a miracle happens now. I don't see how these 2 players, which they haven't named, and we're still working to confirm the names. We're not just going to throw names out there like some people are without confirming it. But it's 2 players they believe will go to the NBA. So you can kind of make your own conclusions on that. But they're 2 of the best players. And their mothers allegedly accepted money. So that would make them ineligible. Sometimes, in some instances, players can pay the money back and then maybe serve a suspension of some sort. But with as much money that it allegedly changed hands, I don't see how they could do that. This is a lot of money, and especially when an assistant coach is accepting close to $100,000 that we know of within a period of 1 year, I believe.
So do you think those 2 players, do you think they're done for Auburn basketball? Or?
I think so. I don't see how they can allow them to play this season. Unless, listen, there's a lot of lawyers out there that can spin it one way or another. Mm-hmm. But it does not look good. And this is in a situation where Auburn yesterday announced sold-out season tickets for basketball.
I
and
know.
Then Thursday, and then coming up Thursday, but you can buy your single game tickets. I'm sure a lot of fans are going to be one going, I'm not buying tickets. It's
Not so sure about that.
it's a bad situation. So we'll see going forward. Obviously, this is very early in the story. But as of right now, Chuck Person's been suspended without pay. Don't see him keeping his job. And he was a coach that from the beginning, I'll say this, from talking to people, he was desperate to get a job here. He wanted to be a head coach. But I don't know if he was ever necessarily, not to say qualified, but a good fit, even though this was Auburn. I don't think he was, I don't know. But these allegations now kind of prove a lot of things on a national level. We all know recruiting is dirty as heck. This further proves that. And I think more than anything, is a colleague was saying inside, in a lot of ways, this is modern day human trafficking in the standpoint that you're getting players, you're forcing them to assign themselves to a school based off money, and then you're trying to funnel them to agents and shoe companies based off of who they played for in AAU basketball in high school. And you're using them, and these coaches are getting paid, allegedly. Chuck Person getting nearly $100,000 plus his salary for what he's already getting, and like he needs the money. And he's steering these kids, who he's supposed to be looking out for, towards someone only because, and he's lying too, by the way. He's lying, saying this guy's helped out Charles Barkley, he's helped out me, and he was straight up lying about this guy to the kids' families. That's terrible to do to someone, to anybody of any age, let alone a college athlete who's worrying about their own future, where every little movement they make is being watched, and also they got to keep their nose clean to get to the NBA and play well and everything, and then you got these coaches just taking advantage of them. It's sick. It's really sickening. And coaches who should know better being taken advantage of by these financial advisors, or whoever you want to call them, these shoe companies. It's a disgrace. And we all knew, we heard, you've always heard stories, not at Auburn necessarily, but other schools and all across the nation, AAU basketball, all this. And to see this all come out from the FBI today, and it's just the tip of the iceberg, because I mean, they opened up a 100-line tip line today for people to put in their concerns or anything they've heard. Also, here's one thing you need to look out for. These defendants, including Chuck Person, they're facing prison time. Who's to say they're not going to turn on someone themselves and go, hey, I'll give you some info on this guy if you take off a little bit of my sentencing.
Maybe that's what they want them to do.
And that's exactly right, Miles. That's usually what happens with the feds or any law enforcement. They want to expand on things and go after bigger fish. And these being assistant coaches, they'll want to go after bigger fish. There's some big fish already frying at Louisville, as I mentioned, because that case is really damning for them. But this one at Auburn is really damning too, because it involves two players and an assistant coach and a head coach who's not mentioned in the charges, but he's overseeing the program. The NCAA will see it as his responsibility, and he's a coach who's already been in trouble before and was already walking on a thin line as it was. So, bad situation for Auburn.
Real bad.
And it's just now starting. This thing will go on for a long time. It'll be interesting to see. I'll say this. Auburn, all these schools had no idea this was coming.
Yeah.
As late as last night, I was getting text messages about going to lunch as a beat with Bruce Pearl to discuss the upcoming season. So they had no idea this was coming. And then this morning, Chuck Person was apparently in handcuffs getting led away. It's crazy. So we'll move on to football now. And then I could take your questions here later about basketball or football, where you want to talk about. But football.
How do you think this will affect football?
Specifically?
If at all?
Nothing. I don't think it does anything.
Okay.
If anything, it's just taking attention away from football, which I'm sure.
That's something we need.
Deep down, Gus Malzahn's probably thinking, "Oh boy, great for us." But I don't think it directly affects football. It affects Jay Jacobs more than anybody who's overseeing football. His name's tied to a lot of this just from the standpoint that he hired these people and signed off on them, including Chuck Person. As far as football, though, we got a couple of newsy nuggets out of Gus Malzahn. We reported an Auburn Undercover on the message board this morning before the press conference that Cam Martin had injured his ankle in the Mizzou game, and his status was up in the air. Gus Malzahn says he expects him to play Saturday against Mississippi State. Also, I was told that Cameron Petway's injury, I've heard a couple things. Someone said an ankle. I've also been told it was a knee thing where it may have been some liquid in his knee and they had to drain it out. Imagine that picture in your mind. But Gus Malzahn said he's okay, and it's their high likelihood is what he said that he will play this weekend against Mississippi State. And interesting enough, last year going into the Mississippi State game was the last time Kerryon Johnson and Cam Petway, Auburn's top 2 running backs, were both healthy at the same time.
That's unbelievable.
It's been almost a year, and I still don't think they're both 100% healthy, but it looks like they'll both be available this weekend. Outside that, try to get some clarification on why we're not talking to coordinators anymore. Gus Malzahn spoke outside to a few of us. He said that could be a week-to-week thing. He said that they just didn't want to talk. My gut is, and I tweeted this, my gut's pretty big. My gut feeling is that we might not talk to coordinators again this season until if they make a big bowl game or something and they're required to speak by the bowl.
Do you think they would make that call or just keep us?
I think they're going to keep us on. Yeah, I think they're going to keep us on the fishing line all year and go, yeah, maybe this week. No. I think
here's an injured player.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they brought an injured player out last night, which is weird. I'd be surprised if we get the assistant coaches at this point, and why? I have my theories, but nothing concrete. It's just I think that's more of Gus's decision actually than the coordinators. He's saying it's the coordinator's decision, but I mean, listen, he's the head coach. He can go, no, you got to go talk. Mm-hmm. But it's bad.
And speaking of Trey Williams, how is his health?
He's doing well. Based on what I heard, he practiced Sunday. Cameron Petway practiced Sunday, which is good. I think that he'll be fine, ready to go. I think if it was a huge enough game, he may have been able to play against Mizzou. They just wanted to hold him out and heal that shoulder that he's re-injured, re-aggravated against Mercer. So,
see if we've got any questions coming in.
Yeah, any questions?
I know y'all got questions today. Let's see. Do you think it's a good idea to run Cam and KJ for the first through third quarters and then bring Petway fourth quarter?
That's interesting. I don't know. I think it just depends on how healthy Petway is. Which Cam we talking about? Cam Martin, Cam Petway. So many Cams. I don't know. I'd be interested to hear what the coaches' plans were. They're not going to tell us as far as how they'll do the rotation. My thinking is that they'd go with Cameron Petway and Kerryon Johnson 1 and 2 to start the game and maybe give them some equal carries. So I think they want to go with Petway as much as possible. Darius Slayton, darn it, I forgot to ask about him today. I'm sorry. I had 15 things on my mind. That's no excuse, but
it's a big day for Auburn
I'm
sports.
sorry. I meant to ask about Darius Slayton, guy. I'm sorry. I'll try to look up some info on him through some sources. I'm sorry. I totally forgot to ask about him. And I knew I said I was going to, and I forgot. Michael wasn't here today because he's working on the basketball story and still is, and so I'm here by myself.
Not by yourself.
Well, Miles is here.
I'm here.
Miles, you should have busted in the room and went, hey, what about Darius Slayton?
Guys, I missed the press conference. It's fine. Well, I showed up right as it was starting. I didn't want to just pop in and interrupt guys. Not too happy about that. Starting offensive line, any changes there?
Yeah, it's interesting too. It doesn't seem like they're really commenting one way or the other right now. I think it just all depends on Darius James's health. He did play against Mizzou late, which I found interesting. He was wearing a neck roll, actually, to protect his neck, which he injured against Mercer. So he seems to be okay, but they're taking some precautions with that neck. I would think that based off that, since Darius James played, I think you might see the same offensive line you saw against Mizzou this week. I think you'll see Casey Dunn at center and Austin Golson at right tackle. That's what it's certainly looking like right now.
Got some detectives on here.
Detectives?
Yeah,
I'm
saying
hearing.
that maybe a more thorough background check on Chuck Pearson, or is that how you say that? Pearson? Person. That maybe we would have seen some red flags and could have prevented an incident.
I don't know. I think
his history could have told us anything.
I don't know necessarily, to be honest, but it's interesting. It's a 32 page of charges they listed out for Chuck Person. I've read 30 pages so far, so if there's something other on those, the last two. But they even make a point to say in there that one of the people he was dealing with, money-wise, was someone that if he had just simply pulled out his phone and did a Google search on himself, he would have seen that this person was like under investigation by the SEC, not the Southeastern Conference, but the Security Commission. That this guy was already in hot water himself, and apparently Chuck Person didn't do that, or if he knew about him, he chose to deal with someone who was not only shady, but super shady.
And this is someone he hired?
No, someone he was coming to him going, hey, let's get some players directed toward these financial advisor or whatever.
Sketchy middleman.
Yeah, a sketchy middleman that was already. I mean, any middleman's sketchy, but this guy was super sketchy, and apparently Chuck Person didn't even take the time to look that up. It's not like Chuck Person just wanted the money, and money gets you, man.
And I was curious about the Adidas thing. That's only with Louisville, or is that across the board?
Now this is what's going to be interesting about it. Adidas is involved. Someone who worked there, Adidas involved with Louisville, and getting $100,000 or whatever to help get a player to Louisville. Mm-hmm. If that's happening at that one Adidas school, what's happening at the other Adidas schools? That's going to open up that whole line of questioning. But also, there's a reason why they set up this telephone number, because people are going to start ratting on each other now. It's like open season. Mm-hmm. Coaches, I guarantee you, are shaking in their boots at every school going, is my phone tapped? I mean, Chuck Person's phone was tapped. Had a wire on it.
Jeez.
So these Adidas schools, I mean, Adidas was the big shoe company involved in this. So if I'm an Adidas school, I'm sitting there going, oh no, what are they going to dig up on us? Or the coaches might already know that they have something on them. So
we're Under Armour, right?
Yes, Under Armour.
Also Under Armour?
Here's my prediction. I don't think Adidas will be involved in college sports here in about 3 years. I think it's that bad.
Hot take.
I mean, listen, this stuff, we all know it's going on. Everybody cheats. And the FBI, it took the FBI to finally do something, because they went undercover. And it kind of shows you how inept the NCAA is. Because it takes reporters and law enforcement to uncover things, and then the NCAA comes in and goes, hey, we hear you did some things. We're going to start investigating now. Mm-hmm. The NCAA is so inept at that stuff. And if the FBI wasn't in on this, we all kind of knew it was dirty. It's just a matter of someone putting the resources down to go look into it. And even the NCAA, the governing body, wouldn't do that. And it takes the FBI to do this. As I said, this is almost like a way of, it's just you're trafficking athletes to people and making money off them.
Yeah, especially when they're not aware of how much money is actually being exchanged.
I mean, we can argue about the standpoint of players should be paid. I believe players should be paid. But that's not only happening, but the coach is getting paid, and then they're getting paid more, apparently, by these middlemen trying to steer these players to go to an agent or to an apparel deal after they get out of school. It's
a lot of money being made off these college kids.
It's sick.
And I actually wonder how much these players even are aware of it. I mean, do you think it's maybe their parents
That's the other thing.
Overreaching?
Some of these guys, like us, will be like, they might have an idea it's happening, but maybe their parents are handling it, and so they're not for certain. And then the kid pays the ultimate price.
Right, because
they don't get to play.
And
it affects their draft stock and everything. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And what you're seeing right now is the beginning of what could end up being the biggest scandal in college sports history. Biggest ever. Because it's going to expand.
Yeah.
These
sure
defendants,
there's more that we are unaware of.
Yeah. These defendants, I think they're going to start chirping like birds to the feds so they don't have to go to prison as long as they might have to. And I think these other schools will start ratting each other out.
Very well may be.
It's a bad time to be a college basketball coach right now.
Let's see. Questions?
Any questions?
Football questions?
I know some of you are asking what Auburn players are involved. I can't tell you for sure. We don't have that confirmed
yet. Wait for confirmation.
Yeah, I mean, some of you are assuming things, and do what you want, but as a journalist, we're not going to assume. We got to get things confirmed. And Michael's on the story. He's working on it.
On the beat.
I know some journalists are putting names out there, and boy, they should watch themselves for that, because there will be repercussions. Why do I do this outside? Why do we do this outside? Get away from everybody.
Light.
And the natural light.
I don't know. There's a lot that goes on in the athletic complex.
Yeah.
How about a score prediction for this weekend?
Oh, I don't have one yet. I saved that for Fearless Forecasters on Thursday.
Vegas has got us up like 10 points or something,
Yeah,
right?
it's like a 10-point favorite. I think it's about fair.
You don't think that's an overestimate, perhaps?
I don't know. I was thinking it might open at 7. Sorry, my foot's asleep.
We're used to standing up.
Yeah, I was expecting like 7, but 10, yeah, I could see that. I think Auburn wins. I'll say that right now. Unless Nick Fitzgerald has a big game. If Auburn shuts down Nick Fitzgerald, Auburn's going to win this game easily.
What do you think? Do you think he is our biggest threat? Someone asked what the biggest threat is. Do you think it's Nick?
Yeah, it's Nick Fitzgerald. Definitely.
There you go.
The Mississippi State defense has been good up until the Georgia game. And now my entire leg's asleep.
Stomp it out.
I'm going to be crawling here in a minute. This bench is weird. It's like this partition right here.
Yeah, it's poorly designed.
Sorry that I'm pounding my leg against the seat mat.
Let's see. Stidham over or under 200 yards?
Over 200 yards.
Over. I like it.
Yes, and happy birthday to Miles. It's Miles' birthday today.
That's so embarrassing. That's my dad.
Is that your dad saying that?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Dad.
What are you doing to celebrate your birthday today?
My boyfriend and I are going on a picnic.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, at Chihuahua, and then...
Yes, I love Chihuahua State
And then
Park.
I'm going to dinner with all my friends.
That's fun.
We're getting Mexican.
You guys gonna go to the waterfall at Chihuahua?
I think so, yeah. We're bringing our dog, so
that's awesome.
She's never been. It's exciting.
Dog will be very excited.
Oh, yeah?
I haven't been out there in about a year or so. It's a lot of fun to hike.
I don't think I have either, actually.
You've never been there?
I'm not in a long
awesome.
time. I've been before, but
it's awesome.
not this year.
I like getting off my wife and I will get off the beaten path and like just start walking through
exploring
things and and
it's huge. I didn't really
big.
realize.
Yeah.
You guys should check out Chihuahua.
Then I realized we were about to step on some like private property somewhere. We were way far off the path.
Oh no.
Anyway.
Well, you can like rent cabins and stuff as well.
Yeah. Jamie's driving and texting. Don't do that.
Guys, bad. Fired guys, y'all.
Everybody's so mad.
Carryon Johnson, 120 yards rushing, over or under?
Under.
Under.
I don't
Do you think they're going to
100%.
give him any kind of break this week after last week, or?
I don't think he'll get as many carries. I don't think he'll get the 18 carries he got this week.
Was it 18?
Yeah, it's 15 in the first half, 3 in the third quarter, and then they took him off the field because they were up so big. But I don't think he'll get that many, especially with Cameron Petway apparently back.
Mm-hmm. Can we fire Jacobs?
I'll tell you what, Jay Jacobs, dude, a lot of hot water around him. Stuff like this can't keep popping up.
Yeah. Definitely can't be hiding from it. He hasn't said much today.
No. Except for, interestingly, retweeting Dr. Stephen Lee's statement going, hey, in case you missed it, here's our statement on a very serious story. And our statement part was actually from the president's office, not from Jay Jacobs himself.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I don't know what the heck that
I'm
was.
not sure what his statement was, but his miles over under 18. Y'all are so creepy sometimes.
That is a little creepy.
I'm 22 today.
22.
Do you think the offensive line... Oh, that's not a good question.
Wow.
Sorry.
Miles calling people out. That's not a good question.
Do you think the offensive line has figured anything out since Missouri?
I think they've gotten better. I mean, they didn't allow a sack against Jarrett Stidham. Malik Willis was sacked once, but that was with backups in and everything. I think it is getting better. I honestly do. We'll see against Mississippi State. They got a better defensive line, obviously. We'll see. I think they are doing a better job. I don't think this is going to be the dominant offensive line everybody expected, though, which is somewhat disappointing. I thought this would be one of the top offensive lines in the SEC, and it definitely isn't at this point.
Not yet. Why so much Wildcat?
It was working. When it started working in the red zone, they utilized it more, and that's what you do. If things are working, you keep going with it. And, one, it allows you not to show your hand too much. You don't have to use a lot of different plays in the red zone if it's not working. And if it's working, just keep doing it. Seriously, if you're running the ball up the middle 3 straight times and it's getting you 5 yards each time, keep doing it. Is Mike on damage control today since he's a D-ball reporter? Damage control would mean he's trying to, make things look good. No.
Oh, yeah, no.
Mike is out there reporting on this, trying to find out info. I did not watch Carl Lawson's game, but I heard big things. I think I was traveling at the time or something. Okay.
Y'all got questions?
1 or 2 more questions, then I got to go.
Football?
Because my leg is absolutely asleep. This is bad. This is what happens when you get old.
We're at the athletic complex. Outside the athletic complex. Yeah.
Mizzou is the worst team in the SEC. But Auburn took advantage of it. Did what they had to do.
Sal Cannella, any news there?
Whew, boy, man. He should have caught the pass that was thrown to him. He let it go right through his hands. He was like this, like doing the Y in YMCA, and he couldn't catch the ball. He's got to get better. That's been the one knock that's been on him since before he even came here, was that he's not very good catching the ball consistently, and that's certainly been the case here early on. Catch the ball, you'll get more opportunities. If you don't catch the ball, Auburn's more likely to go away from the tight ends, which is too bad because Auburn doesn't even utilize tight ends more, and certainly doesn't seem like that's going to be the case this season.
Did Gus mention the basketball events at all?
No. But I think
Did anyone ask him?
I talked to him a little bit outside, but I think everybody in this athletics department is shell-shocked and just completely caught off guard by it. I think there's a lot of people angry, sad. I mean, even their press release in the university is they're saddened and angry. You never hear angry. I think people here are just pissed that this happened. Mm-hmm. One, mad at the person for being a former Auburn guy and an Auburn guy who played here and is now the coach. Secondly, he may have just destroyed the Auburn basketball program.
Yeah.
He may have just destroyed it.
I mean, if we've got to get a new coach.
Get new players, too.
New players.
I mean, it's... goodness gracious. One of your own, so to speak, just tearing everything down.
Going back to football, will we have a running back with 1,000 yards this year?
Great question. I don't know. It's looking less and less likely unless Cameron Petway or Kerryon Johnson get 100% healthy and stay that way. Mm-hmm. I don't know. You know, the leading rusher right now is Cam Martin. I did not expect that. He's got 210 yards through 4 games. I think it just might be one of those years where you got a guy with 500, one with 800, and then another one with like 400 or 500 again. It's looking less and less likely, and that's just because of the injuries. Mm-hmm. I mean, any one of those two, Karen Petway and Kerryon Johnson, could have 1,000 yards, but you sit out 2 games and 3 games or 4 games.
Cam's kind of being ongoing.
You're just not going to be able to reach it.
Let's see. Someone said since Petway and KJ are never healthy at the same time, couldn't we use, in those times, Miller or Martin in the same kind of way? I
agree with that. I agree with that assessment. They should, but the coaches don't agree with that for some reason. They say they got all the confidence in the world, Cam Martin, but they didn't really start using him until the second half of the Mizzou game. So what's the situation there? Cameron Petway was out. You could have utilized him with Kerryon Johnson because Kerryon Johnson wasn't 100% healthy, but he was still playing, and they still weren't doing it. So I don't know. JC says there's a RoboCop marathon on IFC. Great. I'm going to check that out. RoboCop's my favorite movie ever.
Is it?
Yes.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's very bloody. Very violent. Social satire disguised in an action movie.
What about Barrett?
Devin Barrett. You know, they're still developing him, still trying to get him on the field a little bit. He's definitely fast. They're trying to use him on the outside a little bit. I don't think he's going to be a huge, huge part of this offense this season, but they'll use him from time to time. Thanks, JC. I appreciate it. My wife texted me that RoboCop was on. I was like, yeah, so, but it's a marathon. That's different.
Thanks, Brian. Someone said happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. Okay, guys, I think I got to go. Mike, my leg's about to fall off. Mike just texted me, saying he needs to meet me, so something's going on.
Good. We got updates.
So, thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Sorry that the Auburn basketball program's in purgatory right now.
You can follow us on Snapchat, Auburn 24/7 Sports. I've been updating with all the news on the recent scandal, so you can keep up to date there. And on our Instagram, Auburn 24/7 Sports. And at auburnundercover.com. Yay!
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.